Hello! In today's video I'm going to start by doing, or I'm going to do a review of this metal cutting bandsaw, the Parkside metal cutting bandsaw PMB 1100A1 from Lidl. First thing I'm going to do is quickly unbox it and then I'm going to cheat and go away and read the instructions, for which I'll obviously pause the video, because you don't want to watch me reading instructions. That would be slightly less exciting than watching paint dry. Right, so what you get is, in the box, a large flame molded case. Let's see what we get. And it has part of the stand on the side, so there's that. Put that out of the way. Presumably the rest of it's in the case. Ah, that's interesting. Looks like it opens sort of upside down. Let's see. That does not appear. It's open for some reason. Ah, why? Catches on the side. Right. Oh, let me just put that light on there. Sugar. That walnut's playing me around. Oh, right. So you get a manual. You get that, which bolts down with 4 bolts. You can see the 4 bolt holes there. That's got 4 bolt holes in it, so presumably you bolt that down there. And that's got a quick release. That's interesting. Don't know how effective that is. We will see. We have the actual miter saw here, which is not particularly heavy. Comes with 1 blade. I will see about other blades. You can get access to the brushes easily, so that's nice. Okay. You get that stand there, which obviously will bolt down to, let's work it out, see if I can, yes, it bolts down that way, so it can pivot. That's a casting. Oh, that's interesting. That pin just pulls out, so you can then lift the saw up. Okay, that's aluminium die castings. Looks reasonable. Get that out, and then you have a whole bunch of various different fixings, which we will look at in a minute. Right. I'm just going to have a look at that case, just to see if you can mount that in such a way. Yeah, you might well be able to mount that, put that back in there in such a way that you can leave all that on. Anyway, so let's go put that out of the way. I shall read the instructions. I shall be back in a minute. Right, so now to assembly. What we're just going to do, I've actually had it together and taken it apart again. According to the manual, which is correct, it's the source, what we need to do is bolt that to those 4 bolt holes there using the short wing nutted screws. The easiest way to do that is turn that upside down, stack that like that, put this on top so you can start off the screws. It goes there. I'll show you in a sec. I'm just going to put 2 in very quickly. Oh, assuming I can get it lined up properly. Okay, so then the other 2 ones will go in there and there. You will note that there's a extra bit of strengthening bar pieces welded in the bottom. So we're going to put the other 2 in like this. Like this. Oh, hold on. That went in a bit, almost put that in a bit drunk. Right. Now we need to fit this. This has 2 bolts through it. One through there is a wing nut and the one through there is adjusts, and that takes a long one of the 4 long ones in there. Right, tweak that up a bit, and then we have this thing here, which is a coach bolt, and the washer will go on top. So we put that through the bottom, and the bolt part of it runs in this track here. So we slide that in there, get that engaged, and turn that around so you can see what I'm doing. Put that on, and then put that on top, and then do that down. Now, as this is in operation, this will inevitably foul this over here, but that is sprung, so you can pull it up and turn that around and then tighten it up. So it's not a problem, you can move it out of the way. It gets in the way of the actual saw itself. Right, let me just see if I can swing that. Okay, that's a bit stiff, swinging that all the way round to 45 degrees, which is a bit irritating. It might well be easier once it's worked out a bit. Right, let's tweak that up. Okay, so now we're going to put on the actual cutting head itself. Okay, so what we need to do is we have 3 holes here, and we have 3 holes in this, and what we need to do is to line those up. So if you get that something like that, put that on there. Let me just tweak that up. By the way, this handle here is adjustable for when you are using it as a in handheld mode. Sits nicely vertical. We may or may not have a go at that in a minute. Probably not, because I don't have a vise set up and bolted down. So if you get this in the right place, you can start off a bolt quite easily with one end resting down over there and tweak that up most of the way, and then what you can then do is just pull it backwards and forwards slightly, and then this will naturally pivot up and you'll get the next hole. So that makes that, that one's not quite going in there. Try and, there we go. Hopefully that will go in as well. And then we can pull all those tight. And we're almost set up to cut. So what we then do, this cable up through its two guides there. Right, we have this here. This is a sprung pin. You lift that all the way up. It comes out and it'll hold it in the upright position. And obviously if you want to move it, come down. Now what I have done is I have tightened this bolt up slightly, but not so much that it binds. And that is a 17mm bolt. Now what we are going to do is, actually we leave that cable where it is, run that down there, plug it into the mains, turn it on. Right, I'm just going to do a cut of some test materials. I have some aluminium, I have a little bit of plastic, a bit of mild steel, and a bit of box section. Right, so this is the quick release. Push down that and there, it comes out. There we go, nice and quick. So let's just hack a bit off that. A little bit of pressure on there just to engage the thread. Up we go. We're currently on 4, that'll do. We are tight down there, aren't we? And we are also on 0. Let me just get that out of the way a little bit better. Right. Headphones, where did I put the headphones? Ah, there they are. Right, cover your ears, people. Just to be clear, the manual says you let the weight of this push the blade through. You don't put any extra force, but it implies that you don't have to hold it up. Right, on the one hand that has cut through fairly quickly, on the other hand that cut is quite a long way off square. It's okay there, in fact it is square there, and it's okay there, but clearly it drifts down there. So what I'm going to be doing is trying a different blade. So you need to be aware that as supplied, it doesn't cut particularly square, which is a bit disappointing. Let's try with a plastic tube. Which is pretty much cut like it wasn't there. And that's not square either, albeit it's less not square. Okay, so we are going to try is, this is aluminium. Missed. Let's see if I can get that. Something to note, there's this twists either way. Okay, you need to have whatever this is that you're cutting can't be this side of the pivot point if you're cutting a bit of short stuff. So let me just see where that's going to drop. That is going to cut the finest sliver off, so we'll go for that. I've tested this material before, it does cut quite nicely. And as you can see, it has the same square problem there. It's drifting as it goes down. It's fairly square across there. Normally speaking, you'd be cutting a bar like that to stick it in a lathe and you'd face it off, so it wouldn't make a great deal of difference. Mild steel bar. Don't have any particularly thick bar knocking around, so we'll just go for this. Just put my thumb in there. There we go. Not sure if that's over far enough. No, it is. Okay. That's quite toasty. Let's see how square that is. It's probably less noticeably not square. No, it is less noticeably not square because it's not as big. And last but not least, we'll try this. Now, what I have seen, haven't tried it myself and I can't, is that you can use this, as I say, picking it up and cutting down. My vise is not set up for the job. Let me just make sure that's actually down square in the vise, which it is. I'll do that up. And we'll just cut the end off actually. I don't want to cut that much off. No, I don't. I do. Turn down to full speed actually. Right, so that's that. You can see it clearly cuts. Something it does do if I put on a box, but a box section, which I will do actually just to show you, is, let's see, is that one I partially, no, that's the one I want. So if I try cutting a bit of this, something that you'll notice it has a habit of doing is, because it's a variable pitch blade, chucking backwards and forwards and not doing as bad as when I first. And that does that, I think, because it's got a variable pitch blade on it. So it varies between 14 and 18 TPI. And there you can see how obviously out of square that cut is. In fact, it's also slightly out of square that one. That might be that sitting over there. So I'm going to try a different blade on it. I don't have a suitable different blade available now, so that will come up in the video, and I'll obviously show you how to do a blade change. But very briefly, if you're catching this and you've got one of these, you want to know how to do a blade change very quickly, you undo these two screws. These bits of plastic pop off either way. Don't pull them off this way, they slide off that way and that way. And then you do want to take it off this stand, but then there is also on this side the blade tensioner. You take that round from there to there. If you go round further, you retension the blade, so there's no point in doing that. Then you take the blade out of the guide rollers first and then pull it around the rest of the place. A little bit fiddly, wear gloves, the blade has got sharp teeth on it, and you'll cut yourself if you don't. But that's that. Not sure if I'd quite recommend it at this stage without trying a different blade in it. Bit disappointed frankly in the squareness of the cut out the box. What can you do? However, what I plan to do is make a stand so that I can then put a plate across here that I can then use it as a feed-in bandsaw. That'll obviously be a bit of a welding project for which I've been setting up some test practices on seeing how strong it is if I just simply weld a corner at a bit of 3mm steel. Quite happy with that. So that will be upcoming, assuming I don't get really upset with how this cuts with a different blade. That's coming up. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.